Hello everybody, my name is Trenton Marshall and welcome back to Awesome UAVs. Here we talk about drone safety, drone regulations, a couple of fun things, and a couple of things that you may have not thought of before. So today's subject is flying in bad weather. Now we're going to talk about why you shouldn't fly in bad weather just for general safety reasons and what you can do to minimize the risk of flying in bad weather if you absolutely have to. Now, let's go ahead and let's define bad weather. When I say bad weather, I mean in a rainstorm, in a blizzard, in a forest fire, pretty much anything to do with just obscene, crazy weather. Now, bad weather can also go down to high winds. Now, most people don't think that high winds are bad weather, but high winds for a drone can be very, very stressful and very, very dangerous. Now, the first part I'm going to start off with as far as weather is the rain. Most drones that are sold today are not waterproof at all. Most aren't even water resistant. A lot of them, if you actually go into the manuals and you read the actual descriptions on what the drones can and cannot do, a lot of them say to make sure that you have minimal to zero exposure to moisture whatsoever. So that means do not fly it in the rain. That means don't splash it. Even in some places where there's a high humidity and there's a lot of moisture in the air, they don't want you to fly the drone. So you really have to check your drone specifications on how to do so. The other issue that you have with flying in high moisture or rainy areas is that most people are flying their drones by looking at their camera or looking at their cell phone using it as a monitor. So they're flying their drone around, and obviously the only thing that you have on the drone that can see is the camera. Those cameras, once they get wet, you can't really see where you're flying. And if it's rainy enough and you're too far away from your drone, you may not be able to fly that drone back correctly. Now, you do have a return to home button built into like the DJIs and some of the other drones to where the drone can find itself back, but that's not always a reliable thing. Your drone may be on a return course somewhere and you didn't set the altitude high enough and it could crash. So you really need to be able to see where that drone is coming back from. The other thing that you have to worry about is if moisture gets down into the brushless motors or gets down into the circuitry, that can damage the drone. It could cause the drone to short out and fall out of the air. So that's one big issue that people worry about with flying drones in the rain. Now, there are some drones that I believe are like IP67 or maybe like IP46 rated that you can fly in adverse weather, but those drones are really expensive, and even they have a disclaimer on what you can and cannot do as far as adverse weather. Now, let's talk about high winds. The biggest danger that you have with high winds are flyaways. Now, most people think of flyaways as you lose signal to the aircraft and the aircraft just takes off. That's one sort of flyaway. The other sort of flyaway that happens is, let's say your drone can only fly at a top speed of 35 miles an hour, and currently the wind is blowing against your drone in the opposite direction at 20 miles an hour. Now, at full throttle, your drone can only go forward at 15 miles an hour. If you're following your guidelines where you're keeping your drone in sight, then you should be okay. But if you're flying a long distance and you plan on going far away, you have to think about this. If your drone is a mile away from you and it's coming back at 15 miles an hour and it has to fight the wind, it's going to use up that battery real quick. And if you run out of battery, guess what? Your drone's going to fall out the sky. So you really have to check and make sure what the actual wind speed and things like that are going to be. The other issue that you're going to have is that let's say your drone is going 35. The other issue that you're going to have is let's say you're traveling at 35 miles an hour with your drone and you do have a gust of wind of 20 miles an hour, which is something crazy, but let's say it happens. Now, effectively, your drone could be going up to 50 and going way faster than you even expected, and the drone may not be able to handle that speed, so you could cause damage to the motors, or the drone could go smacking into something because you never expected it. you really need to watch out and know what you're doing when you're flying in high winds. Even when you're taking off, if you're going straight up and the drone's facing you and the wind's coming at you and the wind pushes that drone, it could run into you. So you really need to be careful with that. The other thing that you have to worry about now with the wintertime is the snow and the cold. The first thing that you have to worry about is the actual visibility, because now you're going to get really good drone shots, in the snow, and things are going to look nice. But if it's a blizzard and you can't see, 9 times out of 10, your drone can't see. So you're either going to have to rely on the return to home or look for the anti-collision lights, or make sure you don't fly far away just to get the thing back in a blizzard. I don't know why you would want to fly in a blizzard, but these are just tips on what you would do if you are caught in a blizzard. The other thing that you have to worry about the wintertime is that it is really, really, really cold outside. And one warning that they have for most batteries is you have to make sure that your batteries are preheated, meaning that they're at least, room temperature or like body temperature. Some drones have problems in the cold to where once the air hits that battery, if the battery's already cold and it has to warm itself up, it may not transfer power correctly to the drone, and that battery can actually short out and die in midair, causing your drone to crash. The other problem that you have to worry about the cold is that all that cold air is seeping heat away from that drone, and that can actually cause a reduced amount of flight time. So you really have to be careful about how long you fly your drone. Some people do bring their drones back at about, let's say, 15%. You may want to bring your drone back at 30% just to make sure you have enough power to get back. That's pretty much it for that issue. The last part I'll cover is just natural disasters. It should be common sense. Don't fly your drone into an electrical storm. Don't fly your drone over a volcano. Don't fly your drone near a tsunami or a tidal wave or anything stupid like that. I mean, if you want to go ahead and do that, it's your money. That's perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure people have done it before, but one example with the volcano and fire is if you fly your drone too close to that heat can actually melt the propellers and your drone will fall out the air. Or the actual heat can damage the actual motors inside or the circuitry, and that can cause a crash as well. So if you're going to fly in any sort of bad or adverse weather, know the risks and know that you will be fully responsible for anything that happens if you don't take that risk into account. Have a plan and execute that plan to the best of your ability, or you may just want to wait until a clearer day to actually fly. That's pretty much it. I'm sorry about the long video, but I really wanted to nail down safety, and I really wanted to nail down kind of the different aspects of safety and bad weather and why you shouldn't do it. And if you had to do it, how to be safe and all that jazz. So if you guys did like this video, share it with somebody who can use it, or subscribe to my channel and get all kinds of free updates on when I'm going to have new videos out. Either way, once again, my name is Trenton. If you like my channel, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, plug number 2. Either way, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.